Namaste, and welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever just stopped to think about the sheer spectacle of democracy? It's like this grand, intricate play, where every single voice gets a part in shaping a nation's future.
It really is. It's that moment when billions, literally billions, come together, not just picking leaders, but, well, weaving the very fabric of their collective destiny.
And that profound dance, that's exactly what we're exploring today, isn't it?
Precisely. Our mission for this deep dive is to journey right into the heart of elections with a special focus on the Indian democratic process.
Okay.
It's more than just, facts and figures. It's about the stories, the why behind it all, and maybe some surprising realities that unfold behind that ballot box.
Right.
We'll be unpacking a set of sources, basically a collection of questions and answers to try and reveal the beating heart of a modern representative democracy.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. I mean, imagine a country where nearly 1 billion people get to choose their leaders. How on earth do they manage that?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
What are the rules, the really intricate rules that hold it all together? And what really happens when a whole nation decides its fate? It's a huge question.
It is. And our journey starts really with understanding that foundational idea,
Mhm.
how people govern themselves in these, well, modern representative democracies.
Right, the basics.
Yeah. At its core, representative democracy, and our sources highlight this, it's the most common way for large populations to govern.
Yeah.
It simply means people choose representatives to act for them. And the key mechanism, elections.
The engine, you called it.
Exactly. They're the primary engine. They let citizens select and, just as importantly, replace these representatives, regularly. It's a system built on choice and accountability.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. To truly get the power of that choice, let's zoom right in. There's this captivating story from 1987 in the Indian state of Haryana.
Ah, Haryana 87, a great example.
Yeah, picture the scene. A state assembly election's coming up. The government in power has been there a while.
And there's a feeling, right, an undercurrent of discontent, people wanting something new.
Exactly. And into this charged atmosphere steps this leader, Chaudhry Devi Lal.
A charismatic figure. He led a movement called Nyaya Yudh, the struggle for justice, and formed his own party, the Electoral.
And he made this really bold promise, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely impactful. He pledged quite directly that if his party won, he would waive the loans of farmers and small businessmen.
Wow, that's specific.
Very specific. A direct appeal promising real, tangible relief to a huge chunk of the voters.
So the outcome.
Well, the outcome was nothing short of a political earthquake. The Electoral and its partners just swept the elections. They won a staggering 76 out of 90 seats.
76.
Yeah, with Devi Lal's party alone getting 60. That wasn't just a win. It was this undeniable popular mandate, a huge endorsement of his promise.
That's incredible.
And what's truly fascinating here, what that Haryana story shows so vividly, are the deep choices voters make. It's not just who gets power or who writes the laws.
Better than that.
Much more. It's about who forms the government, whose vision shapes the big decisions, and, crucially, whose policies will guide the nation. That election was a crystal clear vote for a specific policy.
A direct feedback loop, almost.
Almost immediate, yeah. Something you don't always see so clearly. It also really hints at that constant pressure. The pressure regular elections put on leaders. They know their popularity depends on satisfying voters.
And accountability. Did it stick?
Well, here's the twist, bringing it home. Devi Lal's party ruled for 4 years, and then in the very next election, they lost.
So the cycle worked.
The cycle of accountability, it can be pretty relentless.
Okay, so Haryana shows the impact of a clear mandate. But what are the absolute ground rules? The sort of democratic bedrock that makes a mandate legitimate?
Right, the non-negotiables.
Yeah, the bare minimum, really, for a democratic election.
Well, our sources lay out a few essentials. First, universal adult suffrage. Everyone gets one vote, and every vote has equal weight. That's fundamental.
One person, one vote.
Exactly. Second, elections have to be regular, held at predictable intervals, usually every few years.
Makes sense.
And third, the choices offered must be free and genuinely fair. People need real options.
Okay. And you mentioned something surprising earlier, something that isn't a condition.
Yes. And this often raises eyebrows. One thing that is not a condition, despite what many might think, is that candidates must have, say, a minimum educational qualification.
Right. We'll definitely circle back to that. But first, this idea of competition. If it's so central, doesn't all that political rivalry cause problems? It can feel quite divisive sometimes.
That's a very fair point, and the sources acknowledge it. A potential demerit of political competition is that it can breed disunity, factionalism, sometimes pitting communities against each other.
Yeah, you see that.
But here's the flip side, the crucial insight. That very competition, that constant jostling for power, is also what pushes parties and leaders to perform.
The incentive.
Precisely. They know their chances hinge on satisfying voters. So, yeah, it can get messy, but competition acts as this vital ongoing check and balance. It pushes leaders to listen.
The messy crucible where accountability is forged, perhaps.
I like that, a messy crucible. Exactly. Now, shifting focus to India itself, this vast, diverse country, over 1 billion people, how do they even begin to organize this huge democratic task?
How do they divide things up so every voice gets heard?
Well, India's system runs on a regular 5-year cycle. That's for both the national parliament, the Lok Sabha, and the state assemblies, the Vidhan Sabhas.
5 years, okay.
And if a seat becomes vacant midterm, maybe due to resignation or sadly death, they hold a special by-election just for that one constituency.
Got it. And the Lok Sabha, the national parliament, how big is that?
It's huge. The entire country is meticulously divided into roughly 543 constituencies.
543.
And the representative elected from each of those areas, each district, is called a member of parliament, or MP.
So these constituency lines, they aren't just random lines on a map, are they? There's a purpose behind how they're drawn.
Oh, absolutely not random. They're designed very carefully for both equality and representation.
How so?
Well, first, to uphold the one person, one vote, equal value principle, the Constitution requires that each constituency has a roughly equal population.
Okay, makes sense population-wise.
But it goes further. The framers of the Constitution were very deliberate. They set up a crucial system of reserved constituencies.
Reserved. For whom?
For specific, historically weaker sections of society, primarily the scheduled castes, or SCs, and scheduled tribes, STs.
And why is that? Is it like special treatment?
That's a common question, but no, the sources are clear. It's not about special privileges. It's a foundational idea to make parliament and state assemblies genuinely representative, more democratic.
So ensuring those voices are actually in the room.
Exactly. Heard loud and clear. Just to give you numbers, as of early 2019, 84 Lok Sabha seats were reserved for SCs and 47 for STs.
That's significant.
It is. And the push for inclusion doesn't stop there. Many states have taken another step, reserving 1/3 of seats for women candidates in local government bodies, both rural and urban.
That's quite progressive, too.
It is. If you zoom out, you see these aren't just, administrative tweaks. They are the actual pillars designed to amplify voices from all sections, making the whole democratic process more inclusive.
That's a really powerful design for inclusion. Okay, so the country is divided up representatively. Who actually gets to participate? Who gets to vote? And who can actually stand for election?
Right, the players. For voters, it starts way before Election Day with the electoral roll, the voter list. It's prepared well in advance, checked, updated, and distributed.
Who gets on the list?
In India, any citizen who is 18 years old or older by a specific cutoff date is eligible.
And is the list static?
Oh, no, it's dynamic. To keep it accurate, there's a complete revision every 5 years.
Yeah.
We'll move, new voters turn 18. Sadly, some pass away. It needs constant updating.
And you need ID to vote, presumably, like that EPI card.
Yes, the election photo identity card, or EPIC, is common. But importantly, our sources confirm other official proofs work too. Things like a ration card or even a driving license are accepted.
Okay, so accessible ways to prove identity. And what about the candidates? The ones who want to be MPs or MLAs?
Different set of rules for them. The minimum age to actually contest an election is 25 years old.
Higher than voting age.
Yes. And there's a crucial legal declaration they must make now, thanks to a Supreme Court directive.
A declaration. What's in it?
Candidates have to publicly disclose several key things. Any serious criminal cases pending against them.
Okay, important.
Details of their assets and liabilities and those of their immediate family.
Transparency again.
Exactly. And interestingly, their educational qualifications.
Educational qualifications.
Sure.
Here we are again, looping back to that surprising point. So they declare it, but it's not actually required to have a certain qualification to stand.
That's precisely it. It often surprises people. They must state their education level, but there's no minimum bar they have to clear to be eligible to run.
Given how complex governing is, why? Why did India decide against an educational requirement for its lawmakers?
It really speaks to a deep, almost radical democratic principle. The source material explains it clearly. Imposing an educational requirement was seen as going against the very spirit of democracy,
How so?
because it could potentially bar a huge majority of citizens from the right to contest. It deliberately values lived experience, connect with the people, and, well, the public's mandate over formal degrees.
So wisdom isn't only found in textbooks.
That's the underlying philosophy, yes. A powerful statement that leadership ability isn't confined to academic halls. It makes the political arena genuinely accessible, in theory.
That's a profound choice, a
Yeah.
very distinct philosophy. Okay, so once the voters are listed and the candidates are declared, the real action begins, the campaign.
Absolutely. The battle for hearts and minds. This is where promises are made, visions clash, and quite often, history gets forged.
What's the main point of it all, officially?
Well, the main purpose of a campaign is really to give people a clear, genuine chance to choose. Choose their representatives, choose the government they prefer, and choose the policies they believe in.
And campaigns often have those defining moments, those slogans.
Oh, definitely. History is full of them. Think back to Indira Gandhi's Congress Party in 1971. Their iconic slogan was Garibi Hatao, remove poverty.
I remember that one, very powerful.
Immensely. Or jump to 1977, Jai Prakash Narayan's movement rallying under Save Democracy.
Another critical moment.
Exactly. These weren't just catchy phrases. They were like battle cries that really captured the public mood and shaped the national conversation.
They become part of the political story, don't they? But with all that energy, all that persuasion,
Sure.
there must be rules to keep things reasonably fair.
Oh, yes. Very strict rules to try and level the playing field. For instance, election law sets spending limits. A candidate for the Lok Sabha can only spend up to a certain amount, currently around rupees 25 lakh per constituency.
Okay, a cap on spending. What else?
Even more critical, perhaps, is the Model Code of Conduct. Once elections are officially announced, ministers face really tight restrictions.
Like what?
They are explicitly forbidden from doing things like laying foundation stones for new government projects.
No ribbon cutting.
Exactly. No making big new policy decisions, and no making fresh promises about providing new public facilities during the campaign period.
Why is that so strict?
It's crucial to prevent the party in power from, well, misusing government machinery or resources to get an unfair advantage. It's about creating space for an informed choice, even with all the campaign noise.
Right, trying to keep it fair. Okay,
Oh.
so the campaigning peaks, the promises are made.
Yeah,
Then comes the moment of truth.
the casting of the vote,
Yeah.
and then, yes, that nail-biting wait for the results.
The final stages.
That's right. Polling when voters actually cast their ballots and the counting of those votes, those are the final, decisive steps.
And how do they ensure fairness right there at the polling booth and counting center?
Transparency is key. An agent, a representative for each candidate, is allowed, even encouraged, to sit right inside both the polling station during voting and the counting center later.
Eyes on the process.
Exactly. An immediate check against any potential funny business. And technology plays a big role now, too.
The UVMs.
Yes, the widespread use of electronic voting machines, EVMs, for recording votes, it's generally made the process quicker and arguably more secure.
And this whole operation, it must cost a fortune.
It really does. The scale is just immense.
Mm.
Just as one example, the Indian government spent around 3,500 crores. That's roughly 35 billion rupees just conducting the 2014 Lok Sabha elections alone.
35 billion rupees. That's staggering.
It is, and the culmination of all that effort and expense. Well, take the 2014 election in Gulbarga constituency. Mallikarjun Kharge got the most votes, and he was declared elected. It brings this huge, complex process to a clear result.
Looking beyond the mechanics, the counting, the cost. What does this massive logistical exercise tell us about Indian democracy overall?
I think the implication is profound. These details, the sheer scale, the complexity. It underscores what it takes to run free and fair elections for, well, the world's largest democracy.
It's more than just ticking boxes.
Much more. It's a monumental exercise in trust, in transparency, involving millions of officials and citizens. It's a testament to administrative capacity that, frankly, few nations could even attempt.
Okay, despite the grand scale, the meticulous planning, there's always that critical question, isn't there? Are Indian elections truly fair? What about the problems, the shadows that sometimes appear?
And it's important to address that head on. Our sources are quite candid. Unfair practices do get reported.
Like what kind of things?
Things like rigging, which basically means fraud or malpractice to try and unfairly boost votes for someone, or sometimes even direct vote buying. These things happen.
So it's not perfect.
Definitely not perfect. But here's the crucial point the sources emphasize. The scale of these malpractices is generally not considered large enough to completely undermine the whole purpose of the election.
Meaning the overall result still reflects what people wanted.
Largely, yes. The overall verdict, despite the flaws, is still seen as reflecting the popular preference.
And a huge reason for that resilience, I guess, must be the Election Commission, the EC.
Oh, absolutely. The Election Commission of India is arguably the unsung hero here. Its independence is genuinely remarkable. It enjoys the same kind of independence as the country's judiciary.
It's a very high bar.
It is, which makes the EC incredibly powerful and, crucially, largely immune to political pressures. The Chief Election Commissioner, the CEC, is appointed by the President of India, which helps insulate the body.
And how powerful are they, really?
Immensely powerful in their domain. If EC officials believe polling wasn't fair, somewhere maybe in specific booths, or even potentially an entire constituency, they have the authority to simply order a repoll.
Just scrap the result and do it again.
Exactly. That's a serious, powerful check on any attempts to manipulate the outcome. It demonstrates their teeth, their independence.
That level of independence is impressive.
Yeah.
But how does it hold up against, potential pressure?
Well, its constitutional status is key. And removing the chief election commissioner is incredibly difficult. It requires a parliamentary process as rigorous as removing a Supreme Court judge. It's designed for insulation.
Okay. And beyond the EC, are there other signs, maybe surprising ones, that suggest Indian democracy is fundamentally healthy despite the challenges?
Yes, and some are quite striking when you compare internationally. First, voter turnout. That's the percentage of eligible voters who actually vote.
Right.
In India, over the last 50 years or so, turnout has either stayed stable or, in many cases, actually increased.
Increased. That's counterintuitive, maybe.
It is, especially when you look at trends elsewhere. In many established democracies in Europe and North America, turnout has actually declined over the same period.
Wow. Okay, that's point one. What else?
Point two is perhaps even more remarkable. Who is voting more? Poor, illiterate, and underprivileged citizens, people from OBC, SC, ST communities, they tend to vote in larger proportions than the rich and more privileged sections.
Really? The less privileged vote more?
In terms of percentage turnout, yes. It's a powerful statement about engagement. It shows that the marginalized actively see voting as their voice, their power.
That completely upends some common assumptions. Incredible.
Yeah.
Any other indicators?
One more, and it's a big one for gauging fairness. The ruling party, the party currently in power.
Yeah.
They routinely lose elections in India, both at the national and state level. And get this, about half of all sitting MPs or MLAs lose their seats in the next election.
Half. That's huge turnover.
It is. It strongly suggests that voters aren't just rubber stamping the people in power. It challenges that idea that incumbents are almost impossible to beat. India's voters regularly show they have the power to throw the incumbents out.
That is a powerful indicator of genuine choice and accountability.
Exactly. It makes the vote really count. Now, of course, as we said, no system is perfect. India still faces real challenges.
Such as?
Well, the issue of candidates with criminal connections managing to get tickets from major parties is a persistent problem. They can sometimes muscle out other contenders.
Right, the influence of money and muscle power.
And another challenge mentioned is that sometimes, for the ordinary citizen, the choice between the major parties can feel limited. If their core policies and practices seem quite similar, does it offer real substantive choice?
Fair point. So this brings us back to that big question. How can a system with these kinds of visible flaws still be seen as fundamentally democratic, even vibrant?
I think it really comes down to the balance. You have the strong, independent institutions like the Election Commission providing a robust framework.
The structure.
Right, the structure. And combined with that, you have the active, sometimes really surprising participation of citizens, especially the underprivileged.
The agency.
Exactly. It's that dynamic interplay between the structure and the agency of the people, where the collective will, despite all the imperfections, somehow manages to prevail more often than not.
So thinking about this whole journey we've taken, what does it all mean for your understanding, you the listener, of how democracy works or can work? From that village promise in Haryana changing a government to the massive Lok Sabha elections with EVMs and billions of rupees, every single part of it.
Every vote cast.
Every candidate's promise, every official doing their duty, it all weaves together into this incredible, messy, living story of India. It really is a testament, isn't it, to the power of people making decisions together, even when it's complicated.
It absolutely is. And if we step back just one more time, maybe the true strength of democracy isn't found in some mythical state of perfection. Maybe it lies in the constant striving for better
I mean,
representation.
the struggle itself.
Yes. And in its surprising, often unpredictable ability to hold power accountable. And maybe, just maybe, in that enduring belief that the people's verdict, messy as it might be, truly matters in the end, this deep dive showed a system that's incredibly complex, yet also remarkably resilient. So the question for you is, what stands out most to you about this incredible power of choice, operating on such a massive, diverse scale?